Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dev Fireside Chat. As always, I'm Matthew, joined by Howard in voice but not video, and Eric in voice and video. Jacob's taking exams, so he won't be here today, but we, wish him the best on that. So, as always, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the week, a lot of which you guys know because you see all the new players, talking about what's going on in the office, and then taking questions. So, as of this moment, start asking questions. Asking us what you think about certain things, about the industry, about the game, pretty much anything. And we have Eric here this week, so he can do all the...
I have a question.
You have a question? All right.
How many people are viewing now that we've done our crazy promotion, or at least halfway through it?
We have 17 people watching at the start. We're going to see if that changes, if they decide...
What crazy promotion are we doing?
I don't know. There's some guys playing our game and, making videos and stuff.
Well, I was thinking of the other promotion. Matt said that he's auctioning off his underwear. For the first person who asks questions, Matt's gonna send you his underwear.
I don't feel like my underwear would sell that well. Like,
I don't know. You never know.
I feel like I'm an attractive enough guy. Like, I have a lady friend and whatnot, but I don't feel like I'm the most attractive guy on Muse. So I think that's what we need. Our next contest is going to be a vote for who they think the most attractive person on Muse is, and then we'll auction off their underwear, because we'll probably get more money. All right.
Well, if there's indeed that contest, if you vote for Matt, I will give you a free item in the game.
Wow, this is some intense bribery. Someone has a few things they'd like to ask today. So first off, over the last few Fireside Chats, I've asked if we're going to get any new guns from Co-op Put rebalanced for PvP, which we replied no. So I want to ask if you're planning on any new guns or ships to PvP.
Not for the time being. All of our work is focused towards co-op. So in the immediate future, we can't really say.
Although, yeah, I mean, like. What's that other gun mechanic that you're working on?
There's a gun mechanic that I'm working on for skirmish.
Yeah, well, that was sort of in the
maybe the splitter gun mechanics.
That was already in the works.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Well, it's a mechanic that works, but again, all the gun models and stuff like that, we've got to save all of our effort for co-op.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if we can get that guy like Dave Chen, whatever, to help us again, maybe we can like.
Oh, one thing that could make it in, we're playing around with this feature in co-op already, but you could see a little bit of improvement on the harpoon finally. We'll see though.
Yeah. So, anyways, like we're definitely not ruling it out. It's possible. But for a gun, I mean, for a ship, probably not immediately. For a gun, probably. And there's always like those crazy ammos that Eric's been tossing around dev app. So.
And then apparently, if we run a contest like that, Howard, we need for the sexy contest, we need to do a sexy photo shoot first. So. That'll be the next thing.
I'm out. I already know that I'm not. I mean, it's probably
no. You have to let the community decide, Howard.
No, we pre-select the finalists and then we let the community decide.
Fair enough, I guess. First question: will there be any fauna added in the future to the game?
Like animals?
Yeah, I guess animals walking across the ground, or. I guess more birds, because we have birds. They're technically fauna.
They're birds.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's more of a decision for Tim, but yeah, potentially.
All right, and so we are now up to 45 people. We had our slow start, which is why I've started opening up.
There are 45 people watching.
Sorry,
this?
56. Apparently, the talk of sexy photo shoots has.
It's bringing all the boys to the yard, huh?
All right. So someone's saying, show us some co-op gameplay. Actually, I'm going to be filming that. Hopefully next week. It's been really busy with emails and making sure everyone gets into the game. But we are looking at getting some co-op footage, basically, so we have some on stock, but also so we can show it off a little bit because it's starting to look good.
But yeah, there are existing gameplay footage somewhere. Where are they? Are they on the
Oh yeah,
Twitch
there is.
archive or
Yeah, it will not
YouTube?
on YouTube. Yeah, we have
YouTube.
on our YouTube, the Guns of Icarus Online YouTube. There is some co-op footage of both retrieve and defense. So if you want to check that out as well. And then, so Risto's asking, why are there so many? Why am I having so many issues with the game? I've sent something like 1 or 2 emails. So Risto, I think we sent you an email back. If we did, I'm really sorry. I'll double check to make sure. I think there's something wrong with your connection. A lot of your things are starting to link up. We're starting to see that trend where it looks like a little bit of delay that you're seeing, which is why you're getting teleportation, weird things. But we'll definitely keep checking that out, keep working with you, and make sure we get that fixed for you.
Well, yeah, I was connection. We should probably have Risto run like, some ping, some path ping stuff, so like we could get a better idea. But yeah, I agree. Like, because when you see like some of the stuff like missing in game. So for example, right, yesterday when I was playing at home, I was on wireless, right, and I had some connection issues, and I know that there's connection issues because I was also on stream, and my stream was stuttering, right. My Google Hangout and everything was stuttering, so I know it was a connection issue, and probably just because like Verizon's crapping out or whatever for a while, and I could definitely see that, and like I see the exact same thing that you were screenshotting in game. So.
All right. I wish more people played this game in Europe. Me too. I wish more people played this game everywhere. But I don't know. Are you having problems finding European servers, or just you like Europeans better? And then, will there be any new ships added soon or in the future?
Well, I mean, once we have the co-op build in your hands, let's say if the people who pre-ordered it, there will be new ships. Absolutely, there will be new enemy ships and there will be new player ships. We're already working on it. Like if you go to our Facebook page, I snuck a screenshot up there. It's like just models. It's totally like prototype, right? Just like kind of gray boxed. But we're working on new player ships as well. There's 2 at least in the work right now, and they're very different.
And then, will you add more hats to this game?
Yeah, I mean, some of the hats are going to be workshop items as well. But yeah, I mean, as far as like, just wardrobe, we're definitely going to be adding some more. And I think I want to talk to Tim actually. Potentially, we can open it up more to, have people, submit figureheads or like costumes and stuff. I mean, we didn't do costumes just because costume is really, really, really time and labor intensive. And figureheads also not easy because we'll have to work with the positioning of them like on ships. So, we'll have to probably spec that out a little bit more carefully for people. But they're definitely possible. I mean, now that we've seen how capable, or the capabilities, or the abilities of some of the people who submit to workshop, we're more confident in expanding that.
Yeah, we've definitely been blown away by our community, so hats off to all the people who made hats so far. And then John asks, I'm an undergraduate with a major in software engineering, and they teach us some pretty difficult math stuff. My question is, have you personally needed to use math in your code?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with physics and, a lot of it. Yeah, so like, yeah, absolutely.
I definitely know Alex was talking about like the formula for ship drop is like actually mathematically correct. Like if you took a ship that big and dropped it, it should do roughly the same thing. Secondly, this question is kind of do with the first one, but can you talk to us what your plans are for both PvP and co-op as a whole actually are? It seems common for projects to be put on the back burner. A specific example is the new ammo types that graced the dev app so long ago. I think the community could really benefit from seeing a more defined roadmap from the devs instead of getting our hopes and expectations up.
A more defined roadmap as far as like, feature release, or as far as big as, co-op. I mean, the way we define roadmap is actually more in like 3 to 6 months. We actually don't work with roadmaps, so we're not like an automobile company, right? Like where we have roadmaps that extend to like 1 or 2 years out. But generally we will have a goal for, say, for instance, for guns, we absolutely have a goal that we were shooting for. But then it just, the way we drive, sort of what our to-dos and what we want to work on and what we're shooting for is more like 3 to 6 months. But, if we're talking about 6 months out, or 3 to 6 months out, like the first thing we want to do is to be able to get the prototype of, PvE into the pre-order people's hands. And there are a few things that we feel like are more, they're sort of lacking as far as like, either was, kind of in-match progression or feedback or, secondary objectives in the co-op levels. Before it was like, enemy pathing that really constricted map design. And then we have, because we also realized that, going in the longer term, map creation and ship creation were like our biggest bottlenecks. So like, Alex is automating a lot of that stuff, and maybe even considering procedural generating stuff. So like all those big issues we're tackling in the short term, so that we can, in the 3 to 6 months window, we can basically try to aim to get PvE into essentially alpha phase, where we can actually start talking to Steam about doing pre-orders. But it's hard to set a deadline right now or exact time frame, because part of this will need Steam as well. So, but yeah, I mean, that's generally kind of what our plan is for PvE. For PvP, some big like what we talked about, some big features in the the last few streams, and one of which is player-hosted server. We finally made Australian server happen, and that's just really more like jumping on an opportunity provided to us by Software, the hosting company. But like player-hosted server is big, potentially tutorials big, yeah.
And then Gilder asks, will we ever not be enslaved to the needs of the few or many in matchmaking? Instead of being removed from a good lobby because 1 or 2 people didn't want to stay, or maybe because we just want to be tossed back to matchmaker because we'd rather wait in a lobby because it's a rare 3v3 lobby. Just saying, it's very frustrating to have a good thing you want to stay and force back to matchmaker. So this is definitely something that we've had to fight with a bunch, and we've had actually a lot of meetings about. Before, we used to have the 3-game limit on rematches, and we made it easier to rematch because our thing was saying, okay, we need matches to end at some point. Just so people go back in the matchmaker. But then you guys brought up, hey, matches don't need to end if they're always great. And we're like, okay, what is the best metric for an always great match? Right now it's a 60% vote, so majority. So basically, or majority of the people in the match. So either you vote yes or you don't vote, and you're basically automatically counted as a no. Because that's basically saying if you don't care enough to vote to rematch, then it's not that great of a round, kind of thing. So if my recommendation right now would be to kind of get people to vote. Say, hey, listen, this is a great match. I want to fight you guys again. Let's rematch. Because otherwise, if there aren't 60% of the people who want to keep going, you're going to have a very empty lobby, and that's going to make the matchmaker really slow to get more people into your round and the other rounds that people are trying to get into. So it would hurt everybody's experience like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also custom games. So, I mean, custom games, if you don't open up the queue, it's not constricted to matchmaker rule. So.
Though, we will also admit opening up the 3v3 is harder because you do have to bring in more people to start a 3v3.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, with the old, match system, right? I mean, we're talking about, there like, inordinate number of matches or that even we started and tried to advertise in global chat that took more than 30 minutes to even get it remotely close to filled. So, I mean, yes, that's sort of the trade-off where, if we want to have strict control over who plays the match, then the match is going to take longer to start. I mean, that's just historically been the case. Anyways, just, not saying that, just saying.
Yep. Gilder's saying, I don't care if it's slow, I'd rather sit in an empty lobby than matchmaker. The problem, though, Gilder, is you'd be sitting in an empty lobby, and the people you need to fill up your game would be sitting in a different empty lobby. Like, that's what we're trying to avoid. And it was a huge problem before, and it's something that we've tried to, mess around with and make better kind of thing.
No, I mean, right, seriously, like right now, if you still want, I mean, so we did our, some of the, dev hour matches, basically, we essentially use custom game, right? I mean, So it's sort of the same scenario where we basically just create a lobby, we try to fill it, we'll try to get like some CAs in and whatnot, and try to like, make sure each side is perfect. It's exactly, the way we want to construct it, but it just takes a long time. I mean, I think right now, because of the matchmaker, I do really I personally feel like the wait is exacerbated. But then, that option is still, I mean, I personally think it's still viable. I use it. I know it's like, it sounds like, oh, I'm just making an argument for like, oh, trying to defend maybe what we've done or whatever. I mean, to me, that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say is that, like, yeah, I mean, I personally do use it that way. It just takes longer. I mean, if we don't mind the wait, then I still feel like that's a viable option. Right? But just I mean, that's just what I think.
And then someone asked, why doesn't Howard have any video? In case you missed it, Starks, we have it. A lot of people drop in. It's, as another player said, Howard doesn't feel pretty today. He's a
yes, that is actually that's actually true. But I'm still recovering from a stomach bug, so yeah, I just don't want to like throw up, in your webcam, whatever.
Let's see. And are you afraid that adding PvE will split up your community a bit?
I mean, I feel like maybe, but it's a risk that I feel like we'll have to take, I guess, because there's some people who would like, PvE, and some people who like PvP. I mean, like with introducing any type of match system itself that, try to have any semblance of balance. By doing that, we're already splitting the community, having a novice zone and whatnot. Like, we're sort of already splitting a community. So it's always sort of a compromise or like a tightrope to walk on, I think. But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like PvE is like differentiated enough that, something that I think people will enjoy. Well, at least we need to make it so that people enjoy it, right? And I think once we do, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like, there are other people who don't necessarily like PvP. We'll check out the game,
Yeah, I mean, and we've definitely had a lot of people saying, man, I'd really play this game and have a PvE content, and that also could be a way to hook them in, or just have a different kind of player base. Plus, our goal, like, we don't have it finalized, but our goal is to have co-op people be able to talk to the skirmish people in some way in-game with the whisper system kind of thing. So that way, if your friend hops on playing co-op and you're playing skirmish, be like, hey, I need a crew member kind of thing. But, as with a multiplayer online focused game, the way the community is going to be split, or how many people are going to be online, is definitely a concern of ours and something we're always going to be focusing on. Are you going to add the option for a 5v5 or 6v6 game?
Probably not, judging that, 4v4s are very rare these days anyway. I mean, that's the beauty of co-op as well. You can now have at least 4 ships on a single team, but not require the other 4 ships on the other team, because you'll be fighting AI. So hopefully, like, once co-op comes, like, you'll be able to play with more people theoretically on the same team in the future. So that's exciting for us.
All right, and when will co-op come out?
Oh, when will co-op come out? That is a good question. I mean, as Howard was saying, we're always constantly revising our game plan. So the first thing that we want to do right now is roll out, alpha to all our Kickstarter backers and, supporters first. Hopefully sometime around summer-ish, which is coming around pretty quickly. We'll have more news and definite dates by then, for sure.
And then someone's saying, are we taking suggestions for the game? Always. We love player ideas. Someone mentioned it, feedback@musegames.com. Every email gets answered. We go through everything. We log. We have an ideas board filled with great player ideas, some of which have been used. Some are sitting in the accepted pile, just waiting for an engineer to have some free time.
Matt is about to say collecting dust, but that's not the case.
No, we grab ideas from there all the time. Like there are definitely a lot that don't get touched because there's so many, but it's not like, oh man, we hate ideas. We love ideas.
No, I was just kidding. Like, we probably get about, I want to say, like, maybe on average 10 suggestions a day.
I was gonna say
probably, if not more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably need to count.
Would you be against putting a toggle for UI, even if the old one has no stamina bar? Actually, I personally would, but that's because our new UI guy has been making an amazing new UI. So instead of having the new UI, which I know a lot of people don't like, we'll have a new UI, which takes a lot of the feedback. Like, he went through all of them and has made a really streamlined looking thing. So we'll hopefully get that out to you guys as soon as possible, have you guys test it, and let us know what you think. Since the massive boost to player numbers after the YouTuber events typically start to drop off in the months following, what are you planning on doing to try to keep the player numbers up, specifically if things like Matchmaker or the new information on the HUD fail to hook in newbies?
I mean, I think, you know, with retention is always like an ongoing effort. You know, part of it is, you know, it's events, part of it is progression, part of it is performance, part of it is like just new features, new content. And I mean, I think with you know, I mean, part of it's like just more ongoing, you know, stuff, you know, whether just taking advantage of like any you know, opportunity to get the word out as we can. I mean, the way like player like influx works is that, you know, we've seen this like over time, and we've seen it with other games. I feel like I actually have a pretty good understanding of this. Is that, like, you know, by nature, it is always going to be very spiky, just because, you know, some people, we can't expect everybody to put in, you know, 1,000 hours into the game, right? But in reality, like, a lot of people, they'll play for a week, and, you know, they'll move on to their next great game. That is just sort of the nature of you know, like a player influx due to either promo or Steam featuring and whatnot. We see this happen to basically every game. I mean, making a multiplayer game is tough, but, you know, not to say that there's an excuse or anything. You know, we just gotta keep listening to people, just keep like trying to improve the game, and keep doing what we've been doing. And I feel like over time, you know, we've gotten better. You know, there was a time where we can't. There was a time where, like, you know, server performance was in the way, right? Client performance is in the way, and we'll have people like not play the game because of that. So it's just kind of like seeing what challenges that lie before us, seeing where we failed before, and just try to not fail, or at least not fail at the same things.
And then someone said, "Is it me, or does Eric look like he's playing a game on his phone and enjoying it way too much?"
No, I'm reading game design articles, and some things are pretty funny.
Then Mr. Disaster asked, "Do you feel like YouTubers did a good job advertising your game? I mean, Angry Joe said that the Carronade sucks. He did. Oh shoot, only the Hall." I feel like the YouTubers did a good job advertising the game. I do not believe they did a great job advertising high level skill. But you know, that's a lot of the people who played the game didn't get in because of the high level skill they got in, because it looked interesting, and then they got better. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I feel like at least they, yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting or fun to watch how they play. But then, you know, it's not like a lot of this stuff is rehearsed. I mean, it's not, right. I mean, talking about, like, I feel like I'm trying to maintain an authentic experience. You know, you know, they're not getting special coaching by us. All this stuff's not rehearsed. They're in game and they're playing, right? And then, so I mean, what you see is how they actually play, and if that represents, you know, how some of the new players play the game, and, you know, that just it is what it is. I mean, it's really interesting though, like, that we can watch those videos and actually learn a lot from, you know, what we do well, what we don't do well. So, for example, yeah, I mean, if they're not learning how to use whatever gun to shoot whatever component, then it's like, huh, okay, yeah, that's something that we could do. But I mean, Mark will also, like, point out bugs, and it's pretty interesting. Like, you know, that he gets spammed by like clan requests or whatever, and it's like bothering his stream, and like he'll report it to us. And, you know, like Cry has some like old. When he was on board the old ship, he had like in one of the old matches, he had some like teleportation issues and whatever, and that's like caught on video. And it's like all that stuff is actually really helpful. It's kind of like going to it's the equivalent of going to trade shows and watching people play and flailing. It's like, oh shoot, okay, so.
And then someone said, could you bring more high-level players in during the next YouTube event? No, we can't. You destroy them, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, if your goal is to be in there to destroy YouTubers or destroy us, then okay, I think we probably had to set this up like a little bit differently.
And the Teenage Wizard asks, I took part in the testing and never got my free item. Could I still get it? Definitely, yeah. We didn't get an email yet. Or I think we replied to all of them. If we missed it, I'm really sorry. If you didn't send one, you can definitely send one now. So send it in. We'll get you the item. Would it ever be possible to jump onto an ally ship to help them out?
No. No boarding whatsoever. Not even on your friendly ships. Even if they allow you to come on board, no way. It's not happening. Even if they're tantalizing you with the biggest cake or whatever, can't jump from ship to ship. It's sad, but it's not happening.
Man, I don't know if there's any group of our players in game that are super interested in cake. Or the flames that bake said cakes. And then Urzi, which I think is good to have you back. He's asking, have we considered showing more support for community-run competitive events? Definitely. We've actually been putting it into our newsletter and starting up a newsletter for community events because that reaches hundreds of thousands of players. Because we love this Sunday skirmishes are amazing, and we love those. There's also the VIP games and stuff like that. And right now we're running, on our own side, the teacher tournament, which has been going great. And actually, everyone who's signed up for it, thank you so much. You can still sign up and join in. We get so many emails about people helping out and what they love about it. And it really helps those new players. Like, me and Howard over the week jumped in to help some new players, and it completely changed their experience. Because there was someone telling them, stop shooting Gatling at balloons, kind of thing.
And when's the next big tournament, by the way, competitive tournament?
So after the teaching tournament, we're going to be transitioning into the next pet event. Thomas is working on his summer tournament, so I'm going to be working with him to make sure we don't overlap and step on toes. But right now it's teaching tournament, and then we get to move into a more veteran competitive one. The teaching tournament was because, hey, we're going to have 2,000 new players online instantly.
Yeah, and then, so Urs, so basically with if you're thinking about running another event or whatever, we'll be there. Just let us know, and we'll sponsor you as usual.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you think you guys can make a campaign for the game? So a single, I don't know if single player, but a campaign mode, so with story and such.
Basically scripted campaign stuff. I mean, that's really AAA territory. I don't know. I mean, I think right now it's probably not immediately something that we'll be able to do. Although, I will say this, right? The pieces that, we get to work with are more and more in place where we can potentially in the future do something like that. We're much better with AI, with the state of AI, and we're doing some more some more crew AI scripted stuff in preparation or anticipation for another tutorial update or upgrade, whatever. And so we'll be in a much better position to do something like this. But it's not something that's going to be immediate.
And then, is there going to be a new system for entering a match to be with people more our level? So the level next to your name actually doesn't signify your skill, and it's very interesting. MMR and levels don't match up a lot. Are the matchmakers actually right now pretty good at putting people of equal skill together? It's within a 50-53 win rate for either side. If it's less than that, if it's a little more unbalanced, we do have the underdog system as well. So if you're feeling like you're in an unbalanced match, it'll say underdog, and if not, you guys were actually really close.
at least so far, the match. I mean, the way the matchmaker balance is not it's obviously strictly here. If I have a level, whatever, someone of this MMR, it matches the exact same MMR, on the with just basically mirroring slot for slot, right? And it's not that inflexible, but on the other hand, we have been looking at historic data, and it has been tracking pretty well. the way matchmaker determines balance and win rate and so on, has actually matched up pretty well. We actually have a pretty strong correlation between that and the results of the matches. And we've looked at, I would say, a few 100,000 matches at least. So it's like, it's actually, so it's balance-wise, it doesn't work all the time, but it's actually working more often than not.
And then Mr. Disaster asked us a couple times. Thank you for putting it in a couple times as it got cleared away. I'm grabbing it now. Some people say that even after the buff, the extinguisher is not competitive against chem, especially against the flamethrower. Do you considering increasing extinguisher resistance to 5 seconds?
I'll think about it.
All right. How do I detect what are latency-based bugs? So this is Risto, and what are real bugs? So we should have sent an email. If it hasn't been sent, I'll double-check, make sure you're good to go.
Wait, what was the question, Matt?
How do you detect latency-based bugs? Basically, it's detecting latency using a path ping. Should have been sent your way. If not, we'll send it again and make sure.
Well, first of all, like if we'll generally know by now, like what if latency, if like connection related issue is caused by our server, or like by say client side connection. We usually have a pretty good sense, and over time, I think we've built in monitoring tools. That's like pretty real time, so we can track that stuff pretty easily. So we know like if our server is having hiccup and whatnot. Especially if like player reports and send us log, and we can like look up the match in our server log. We can like really easily see. So I think we've gotten much better at knowing what's caused by us and what's like just in the internet or someone's like network and computer and whatnot. So like generally we can tell what the difference is, but then once we know that, say for instance if the issue's on the client side, then it's kind of a detective. There's really detective work to try to figure out what the heck's happening, because there are any number of things that could cause like issues.
And how much have you worked for this game? Like 1 second, just got like how much time?
Wait, like how much time? Like how much time did it take us to make the game? You mean?
Yeah, probably.
Well, we launched in 2012, and then we started in like 2011 early. So it took us like about year and a half to make the game, and then going on like 2.5 years now. Supporting the game, updating the game, and also working on the expansion. So it's been a while, man. It's been a long time. Holy crap.
Will we ever get some dev testers to try co-op or make a video to show it a little bit clearer? Yep. That's one of the things I really want to do is make some B-roll of basically all the great parts of co-op we've been working on, show it off a little bit better, give you guys a better idea of what you'll be getting into this summer, hopefully. So be on the lookout for that. And then Bag of Weed Stream says, I love the community. Never had such a helpful experience like I had in this game. From captains having a saint patience with me, telling me where to go, what to do. I just feel this game needs more advertisement and some more tutorial videos in-game. Yeah, well, first of all, on the note of tutorial, yes, absolutely. It's just sort of, we considering that we started as like this super indie mentality, it's like, oh, tutorial? What tutorial? Making a new game with like brand new mechanics, whatever, tutorial be damned. People will figure it out. Like we went from having that mindset to like building a tutorial. I feel like, we kind of come a ways, but like we're realizing that it's, what we have is not enough. So we need to work on that. And then as far as like promo, dude, we're trying to take advantage of like whatever opportunities that comes along. This latest YouTuber event included, sort of, it's like a long journey really to make it happen. So we'll just continue to try to like do whatever we can, which is not easy. It's so not easy, but we're trying. Yep, and then are there any plans for making the difference between friendly and enemy ships more noticeable to new players?
I mean, that's sort of like a design consideration, like to kind of make stealth a little bit more of an element. And yeah, so it's really more based on decal. And then of course, we have like right now the dye colors are kind of close to your team colors, which is something that Tim's taking a look at, which doesn't help. But yeah, I mean, we'll try to. I mean, even as something as easy as like getting more new players to look at to hit tab or something will help. But yeah, that's a good point though.
And Sammy asked, was the co-op stream ever uploaded somewhere? Yep, it is on YouTube, so you can definitely check it out. And then our next question, how does Eric decide on how much to buff or nerf something, such as the Spire, Impera, Hull buff nerfs?
Well, let me chime in on that. We actually look at data. So essentially we have a big sheet of data that's being updated as far as like ship usage and ship win rate, gun usage per ship, and so on and so forth. So part of it is looking at really looking at like usage to see, and then the other part of it is really kind of seeing how people are using the guns, actually really seeing how people are using the guns, whether it's like new players using the guns or high level competitive players using the different weapons and different builds, and see like what meta emerges. So it's a combination of looking at data and looking at how people play. I mean, I don't know if Eric will have a different answer, but
yeah, this is actually what actually happens. I have a little fairy that tells me what to do.
All right.
I'm not. I'm kind of curious here. These systems are fairly complex. There are a lot of emergent behaviors that happen. Data is always, we can only react to data, right? It's like, oh, like there seems to be like this gun has been being used a lot. Well, data won't tell us how to change it. It only encapsulates what has already happened, right? So with all these complex systems, how do I go about trying to change those numbers? I mean, there are a couple of obvious things that I can do. If a gun is, being used too much, it's like, well, okay, how do I make that gun less attractive, or how do I make other guns more attractive than, whatever problem there is? So, at the end of the day, it's being able to encapsulate all the systems and understand them and how all these things mesh together to produce results. And what it comes down to is that it's kind of hit or miss. This is why we do a lot of testing. Tweaking all these numbers is not, there's no formula to it. We can't particularly run specific models or algorithms on it to predict these things, because they are very complicated systems. And they kind of behave in some very peculiar and unexpected ways, especially when you're driving a ship and all these things are happening. So that's why testing is really valuable. So, basically put a number in, and I have an idea of what the desired effect and how that will ripple throughout all our systems. But it's not until we do the testing, we get data, we can look at the data that tells us what actually happened, and that's how we really respond from there. So usually data is like, oh, something is wrong, how do we respond? But it is always validated by data. But again, it's how do I come to a decision? Gut feeling, really.
Well, yeah, you should really listen to the first thing that Eric said, and kind of ignore the rest. He did mention that he uses a fairy, and that's that.
Which kind of goes with how Sammy says you do it, which is you get naked, take some LSD, you get a kazoo.
That works too.
Oh, well, thanks for the faith in us, Sammy.
Whatever helps you get in tune with what's going on.
Thanks for the faith and support.
I love this community because you guys actually answer questions and don't ignore us. We like you guys, so, and you give us good questions, so it makes it easy. And Any new ships planned, if any? We talked about this before. I'll quickly overview it for the people that missed. We have some co-op ships being worked on for players to test. Or not players, sorry. For players to use in co-op, not to test right now. Sorry, I probably made everyone excited and then ruined your hopes and dreams. But we are testing them and making them work right now. If I ask really nicely, will it improve my chances of being able to shoot down birds?
Oh man, yes. There's like there's like kind of a wave building, like with a bird shooting thing. There's like momentum building.
If you want to shoot down birds, they're called biplanes in co-op. You'll be able to shoot those down.
That is true, but the birds won't like drop bombs on you though. Just saying. It's just pure mowing them down. There's something satisfying about it, I think. I'm down. I've been down with this idea of shooting down birds for a long time.
I think you've been down with it since birds got released, like
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yeah, I have been, but I can never get people to.
Isn't harming a small helpless animal indicative of some kind of psychological issue?
It may be psychopathic.
Yeah, I think it's like the early signs of sociopathy.
But on the other, well, yeah, sure. But on the other hand, it's also like very human nature. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
And fun to do.
There was a time where I say something like offhand with Tim, we're just like shooting the crap, just haha, having fun, like over lunch, and that offended somebody, and I get like we got our ass. I mean, especially me, got like my ass chewed it out because of saying something like that. So,
all right, and then when you're dead, you can't press tab to see the score. That is the main time when doing nothing and want to see who's winning. Can you fix this?
Yes, we can fix it. Yeah, it's very fixable. Actually, in fact, do you have an item like that on Trello? I can't even remember.
Sounds like something we would have.
Yeah, we have a couple things on tabbing in Trello.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And then Sammy asks, one of the issues us top guys see is the very specific overpowered nature of the Mobula with a top crew on Dunes. Yes, it is an extremely niche imbalance, but right now it makes all of us competitive guys hate both Dunes and Mobulas. However, the general data will never reflect this as Mobulas fall apart without that top 10% crew and or maps with cover. How do you look at that kind of balancing?
Again, it's very, very niche. How do we balance for that 10%? I mean, what it comes down to is that.
Wait, so are you saying that Matt is like top 10%? I refuse to acknowledge that. Sam, you just give Matt credit? That sucks. Sorry.
What it comes down to is no matter what kind of project you look like, you'll always encounter these kinds of edge cases. Again, the systems are very complicated and it's very difficult to foresee how these things will permeate. And at the same time, that also means it's very difficult to fix those problems. We could take a hammer to a lot of these things, like let's say the design of the Mobula itself. It's like, well, I could always just mess around with like the gun arcs or like change things around gun positioning and stuff like that. To make it even harder for that 10% to be that 10%. Maybe it's only now a 2% who can actually manage to make Mobula the nightmare on Dunes. But then is that really fair? And how do those changes trickle down to the rest of the players?
Yeah, I mean,
there is no easy answer is what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of things that we could do, but again, a lot of people would not like them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, okay, like, so for example, we'll look at like tangentially, like just rambling on now, like, so we'll look at different builds, right, on different ships, and we pretty much know, like, who kind of sort of who's using those builds, like as far as like how advanced you are. Some builds we know that are advanced on different ships, right, and so for example, mines for advanced players are highly effective. Their win rate is like, a different combination of mine builds have the highest win rate in the entire game. I mean, I don't want to get into the specific build, so I'll be like just telling, like just basically, just kind of blatantly saying like meta this, meta that based on data. Like I don't want to do that, right? But then, just generally, let's just say mines are very effective, and they are. But the thing is that it's also a very highly skilled gun, right? So I don't know. I mean, at some point, we'll also have to acknowledge players' skill. We want to look at systematic overusage and systematic, dominance as far as win rate. And so, like, usually, like, if we see something that's really, really high usage and really, really high win rate, then something is probably out of whack, right? But, like, if something that's lower usage, especially by, like, more, essentially the top players or whatever, they're more niche builds and stuff. I mean, at some point, we do have to acknowledge the player, so it's a
and
tough
to that
balance.
end, my challenge would be is try to find a way to counter that particular strategy. And if there's legitimately no way to counter that strategy, that is the most optimal thing you can do on Dunes is fly Mobula with that particular build, and there's no way to counter that, then yes, I can say that's probably an issue. We should look at it. So until someone, until all possibilities have been exhausted,
Yeah. So this is exactly. So this is another instance where we'll look at usage, but also look at use cases. So.
Yeah. Well, Howard, you'll be happy to know Sammy does not consider me in the top 10 Mobula flyers on Dunes.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. So qualitatively, how would you rate Matt as far as percentage, and then how would you rate me? Now I'm curious. But it's okay. I could take it. I'm
Sammy,
curious.
watch out! You're about to have your account banned if you answer wrong. I feel like I think Howard's gonna target you down here.
I would challenge you to a duel.
Yeah, though actually, Sammy brings up a very good point. He says, I guess instead of trying to give y'all a whine about the Mobula, he's asking how can he give better information to see niche imbalances, because he definitely knows it sucks to balance.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of a pickle for us because if we're totally transparent, then like if we tell you, like, so for example, what build has the highest win rate, right? And then like that would basically super bias the meta, right? Because that would actually completely bias the sample. So there's some things that we just can't.
Oh no. So he's asking what can he do, like Sammy, as one of the competitive pilots, to help show off these things to you or to Eric about balance. Like what information is the best to give and the best way to explain it.
Send us an email.
Well, yeah, I mean, but yes, but then like I think if we're talking about tactics, right? Specifically your tactics. So, for example, if you have we've been calling for videos, for example, of advanced tactics and advanced maneuvers and counters. If you can give that to us, and it's like things that you've considered that, like, so for example, that we can pull off, or which is very possible, and like that kind of stuff, I think will be really, really awesome, because not only do we know like some of the meta you're concerned about, some of the counters that you're doing, some of the maneuvers that you're pulling off, we can also show that off to the rest of the community, and would love to feature that stuff. So it's not only helpful for us, but I think it's helpful for the rest of the community. I would actually love it, if you can do something like that. It's something like for example, we talked to the writers about, and they're pulling together their favorite strategies and tactics and whatnot. And I really strongly encourage all the vets and like all you guys that were the best players in the game to show off what you can do.
All right. And then, will you change the naming term so I can call my ship the Sexual Tyrannosaurus? I don't know why that name would be blocked. Let me check it out. I don't have a problem with the name. Someone's saying, will not change the community standards in the close future. So the big thing is, sometimes we took a big list, like one of those lists that you could get of foul words, and we just put it into the system, and sometimes it's a little more aggressive than we like to be. So yeah, let me check out Sexual Tyrannosaurus. I'm assuming you're making a Saturday Morning Breakfast cereal comic reference, which is someone during sex that doesn't use their arms, which I found kind of funny. So personally, I'm alright with that.
Okay.
Then, on certain maps, do you think you might add storms which affect your ship, making it hard to fly?
Storms, as in like stronger winds.
We're looking at we kind of have that functionality already. We have the sandstorms on dunes, but even those are unclear at sometimes which ones are normal clouds and which ones are the sandstorms. So we haven't really played around too much with that stuff, but we're hoping to improve our weather system as we transition step to co-op, or at least our level design. So we're playing with some new stuff. In fact, there's some really cool things that happen in co-op, like lightning storms and whatnot. So, and yes, lightning does damage you if you get hit by it. So hopefully those are the kinds of things that might trickle down into skirmish, like these tertiary features, like weather systems and stuff like that. Those would be interesting and very feasible to incorporate back into skirmish mode. Ships and guns and bounce-related stuff, that's a lot trickier.
All right, and then the acceptor asks, why do we have to pay to change our names? I just like that because I want to change my stupid name. Send us an email, and we'll let you reset your name again. You get three to start off with, and, like, it's not a money thing. We make no money off, or basically no money off the name-changing thing. It's because we don't want people to change their name every week. We want there to be some permanency, like, you know, your captain, you know, whatever, Blackbeard. We want Blackbeard to be the name that you're like, this is how I identify, this is how I want the community to see me.
Yeah, okay, let me just make that clear. Like, we make zero money because no one's ever paid for it, okay? Like, and then, so I don't want you guys to think that, oh, you know, that's like some way for us to make money. Part of the reason why we did it, is like exactly what, you know, for Matt said. And part of the reason why, just basically, like, before, when people are like doing name changes and this and that, it's like it became a support, like a big support, like, you know, kind of a thing. It's like, oh, you know, I changed this name, I can't get this name back, I blah blah blah, can I have this name, can you get somebody to give me my name back? Well, it's like all kinds of stuff. So like this is a way, so, you know, we'll give people a name change, and then, you know, and then kind of deter them from changing their name like free willy left and right, and so that they regret it, right? So like, you know, then if you really want to make multiple name changes, you can let us know, but then it will be a more conscious decision. So it's kind of a you know, more of a social engineering deterrent kind of a thing. And it works. I'm sorry, it does, you know, although like we have made zero money on it. Just want to make that totally clear.
When can we see a preview of the new UI you are working on?
Oh, you should be able to. Is it on DevApp yet? I'm not sure. Exactly sure.
So.
Yeah, it's not on DevApp yet.
I think it's on DevApp.
Really?
Really?
I think it's
Alex sent it. Wait, hold on.
Confirm that. Big news.
Hold on.
While he's confirming that, can you post some common builds for new captains to use? I remember when I was learning to fly, and I love flying, but I didn't know how to make good loadouts. Bad loadouts can cause you to lose before the match even starts. It's not fun.
Right. Dev app build 507 is live.
Really?
Major changes HUD.
Wow, like we should holy.
Hey everyone, go into Dev app and look at the UI and tell us what
breaking
you think.
news. Breaking
live on stream.
Breaking news. Sammy, go. Go. Richard, go.
Alright, I think a lot of the loadouts initially for the ships are like, so I know all the novice loadouts, so Pyramidian, Goldfish, and Junker, those are all recommended by us, and by the community. Someone's actually asking if we changed them recently because of the teaching tournament. We had some players come in and, you know, say what they found more useful. We tried it out, and we were like, yeah, sure, definitely. It's an easy enough fix to bug Howard, or bug Eric. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the novice builds are, they're generally pretty. I mean, they're pretty standard, right? But for those ships, I think they're pretty standard anyway. I think they're effective.
Yep. For the like Mobula, Galleon, and Squid, Eric, do we like the builds that are in there right now? Were those ever vetted for use, or are they just like random?
Well, I mean, they're not completely random. But I mean, sure. I mean, if you want to play a certain way, feel free to change them up. You know.
Well, so,
by that. by the time you get out of novice and have access to them, I hope you understand how to play the game just a little bit.
Well, I guess.
So what he's saying is he wants recommendations because he's a newer pilot and you like recommendations for the builds. So how about this? Make life easier on all of us because you guys have a lot of ideas, and if we make a build, you're going to yell at us anyways. Let's start it off with send us your builds for all the ships, and we'll take a peek at them. I'll take a peek at them, and then I'll send the ones I like to Eric. So.
Yeah.
And then let's see. One of the issues recently brought up on the forums is inactive clans. Specifically, clans gets made, it gets 5 people, and then they never get on for a year. Have we considered putting in a clan deletion system?
Oh yes, we have considered that. We've actually that's actually pretty a little bit like sort of higher on the things to do. Something that Jerry is taking a look at. But I mean, for now, like if there is before we implement a system like that, if we, which is actually we already defined, but by the way, but we just haven't implemented it yet. But like before we implement it, if there is a clan who's been inactive, and who is like, that you're thinking about like, having that name and so on, like, let us know. I mean, so far we've just been doing it more manually, and we have been doing it. So.
Well, I think we've only deleted one clan, but that's because most of the clan got banned for being terrible human beings. So, yeah, that was the one we manually did.
Oh.
Because we're like, well, they're not coming back because we didn't want them back. But no, we'll definitely look into the clan deletion thing and like player names, because I know there are people like, oh, I really want that name, and the guy hasn't been on in 300 days, kind of thing. So. That's definitely actually in our ideas pile, the accepted. Do something about that. And then Urs wants to know, how much did the 1.4 Pyramidion nerfs last February reduce the usage in public matches?
Do you want to know, like, Urs? Not that much, actually. Not okay, initially, when people read the release notes, there was a drop-off. I mean, it's, significant. It's like, 5 to 10% drop-off, which is, like, really significant, right? But since like over time, that number has climbed back. So by a pretty decent amount. And Pyramidion's win rate has climbed back as well. So like, yeah. So anyway, like, we can break it down finer, but then, the effect of this perceived nerve on the Pyramidion has been less than, what people initially perceived.
Yeah. This is how much I changed it. And that's what the result is given from the data. It's exactly what I wanted.
And then one problem I see with newer players is a complete lack of understanding of damage types. Is there any way this can be made more clear to new players, i.e. why it's bad to fire Gatlings at a balloon?
I think that's like really the biggest feedback.
2 things. Yeah,
yes.
2 things we're doing. One is we're going to have better tutorials in the future. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Second thing, we are relooking at our hit markers to convey a little bit more information and to convey that more clearly. So right now we've got the major HUD revision right now in DevApp, fresh off fresh out of the oven, right? So go check that out. Once we get feedback on that sort of stuff, we're going to start looking and incorporating our ideas for hit markers, and that will also be tested in DevApp, so don't worry. And we're very excited about this. I think it'll make a lot of that communication type stuff, and like, oh, I'm on a gun, what should I shoot with it? Am I hitting the right thing? Those types of questions. So can't wait.
And then so Urz's question, there's a bit more to it. So the Pyramidion has completely fallen out of favor in organized play, and I feel like the nerf doesn't address why the ship was popular in public matches, which I guess is true because it didn't fall out of favor in public matches.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess I don't know what the expected answer or the appropriate answer is, but like, I'll just say this, right? Like, just my personal opinion is that the best players in the game, I expect like the best players in our game to be able to exploit meta. And I truly believe that, the best players in the game fundamentally should not expect the meta to always be stagnant. Otherwise, if you're already at the top, things don't change for you, like what's the new horizon for you, for anybody? So yes, I mean, we will look at balances and we will make changes along the way. But then I do expect people to adapt. If over the long term, people like completely don't find uses for Pyramidion, okay, maybe that's something we can look at. But I mean, in the short run, I don't think we should make reactionary decisions based on like, okay, fine, a perceived, people reacting to release notes and whatnot. I mean, no offense, I'm sorry, but like, I mean, that's just kind of what I think. I mean, I think that some of the best competitive players out there, they've exploited things, builds, guns, usages that, a lot of other people would just cast away and ignore. And that's how they got to the top. So I think that like, it's not like, oh, that's an excuse or a license for us to like, adjust balance left and right. And we haven't been doing that. I think we've been like a lot more judicious in my opinion. But on the other hand, I also feel like people over the long term, right? People shouldn't feel like it's kind of boring to feel like people are entrenched in some meta and just like, okay, fine, this is how the game is played. It's always going to be how the game is played. I mean, like over the long term, I think people get bored. They would not want to play this game.
All right. And we have hit 4 o'clock. We normally end here. Would you guys be up for grabbing a few more questions? I think there are a couple.
Oh, totally.
All right. The Iron Fork Friday is also starting right now, so if you are normally interested in that or you want to check it out, go in game, join the Iron Fork Friday, and you can listen to us in the background. So first of all, Spongy says, tell Howard he needs to be more aggressive with his Spire piloting. Also tell him Spongy says this. So I think you played with him and made him sad.
Yes, I have. Oh, Jesus, how more aggressive can I be? I charge into enemy fire and I die.
All right, and then this is an off-topic question, but I personally, Matthew, think it's good for us. I and my friends are going to make a 2D game, and we don't know what program is best. What do you recommend? Is there any program you've used a lot before?
What a 2D game? I mean, Unity is free now, and apparently it supports 2D games. That might be an okay option. I don't know. Maybe do it in Flash. I don't know.
No, actually, I think GameMaker is more and more viable. Like, just before, like GameMaker, people had a hard time porting to Steam and whatnot, but like people have done that successfully now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're a Unity shop, and we have the most experience with Unity. And I've seen 2D games done with Unity, and this is not to say that it needs to be like completely like 2D like sprites and stuff like. Although Unity does support it, a lot of 2D games nowadays do incorporate a lot of 3D elements. So if you're interested in doing something like that, then Unity might be a good bet for you. Again, it is free for the full version now. If you earn like less than $10,000 or something like that. So, if this is going to be a small project, it might be a good option. And at least with Unity's track record, it is very good. You can port to like, everything under the sun. So there's that.
And then someone's asking, do you plan to improve the AI? So example, they don't shoot. When they get on the Gatling, they don't focus the balloon. I thought we fixed that. If not, we'll get on it.
That's weird. They shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Basically, if you ever see the AI doing something weird like that, shoot us an email. That'll let us check it out, make sure it's done, and we can hopefully get the AI where you want them to be. Is there any plan for full screen borderless mode? There is an option. Well, there's not an option in game for it, but you can actually do it out of game, and it fixes it. I alt-tab a lot as well. So if you go to gunsoficarus.com/FAQ, or you just go to the homepage and then to the FAQ, there is a section on how to get your game borderless full screen mode, which is how I like to play all my games. And with that, we've caught up with the questions. There's one more, I missed it, he asked it again. Can you guys please add a different icon for talking all lobby voice X and team voice C near the players, so when you're in the lobby?
Yeah, this has like been brought up a lot, actually. Yeah, we'll need to do that.
Yeah. Oh, Sammy also says the new UI is amazing, and it does everything he asked for.
Really?
Oh.
Really? Whoa. Okay.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
So,
wow. Okay.
We'll definitely start organizing testing for that as soon as I get the word. I'll start pulling in everybody. If you guys want to check it out early, though, it's in the dev app. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think even if, you know, it's like you guys like the UI, it's not like, oh, we'll pat ourselves on the back or whatever. I mean, you know, like I think we'll continue to take feedback and see if there are use cases that we miss. And, you know, we're totally up for fine-tuning it more. So, yeah, so definitely, you know, feel like it's, you know, we'll just definitely feel like you can engage and test and give us feedback. And Urs, yeah, don't worry, man. I love you. So, I'm just speaking my mind.
Yeah, and Urs, if you've got another event in mind, you ran some great events, so hit me up. Like, we're looking at running a couple things. Thomas has this thing. We've got our thing coming up, so definitely hit us up for what you want to do. Am I standing? Yes, I'm standing. And I think that's about it. So, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. It was great having everyone here. We're going to do this again, as we do every week, on Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the dev games as well next week, Tuesday and Thursday. I said 3 p.m., right, for Dev Fireside, because that's 3 p.m. And 5 p.m. is the Tuesday, Thursday dev games. Thank you for joining us, everyone. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you just want to chat with us, until then, feedback@musegames.com. We go through every email. Even with all the sale and all this happening, we go through every single email. We gruel over every issue and every idea, and we love them all. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we will see you later.
All right, later, guys.